Good afternoon. Excellent. No one's had coffee, everyone's had lunch. I got it. Welcome back, everybody. My name is ShellyPalmer. I'm the managing director of the digital media group at Landmark Ventures, which I'm learning to say nicely. This is really scary, the whole part of this, so I'm just going to take a giant step back. Welcome to the afternoon session. This session is titled Infrastructure, possibly the least sexy word in the entire tech industry. So we're going to try and make it really sexy. So in order to do that, well, actually, there's no way to make infrastructure sexy. But let's talk a little bit for a second, just to set the stage, about what it is we're trying to accomplish now and what we're going to do over the next little bit through this session. As it turns out, infrastructure is everything. And as good as any front end can be, the back end needs to be better. And in order to have a great back end, right now in 2015, to have a best-in-class back end, you have two different approaches. You can roll your own, or you can hire the best and let them work. And basically, every single person in the business who has any connection with infrastructure has to make that choice. I'm going to roll my own, or I'm going to hire the best and let them work. Now, the problem that we're going to try and solve today really has to do with how you make that decision. Because not only is it not an easy decision, it is probably the most critical path decision you're going to make in any tech business that has any hope of being successful on the journey in 2015 and beyond. How many people in this room have had a security issue over the past 12 months? The rest of you are lying. According to the FBI, and I'm going to paraphrase a statement that's been made by I don't know how many different people and claimed as their own, there are only two kinds of companies in the world. Companies that have been hacked and companies that don't know they've been hacked. Now, you can either, and believe me, we can laugh at that until somebody finds out that their credit card doesn't work and then their other credit card doesn't work. And you're in like a lot of you have traveled in here to New York, and you know, it's cute until it actually happens to you, and then it's far from cute. If it was just credit card fraud, a victimless crime, it would be awesome because we could just pass it off as something that is somebody else's problem. But as it turns out, nobody wants to be in the C-suite. Nobody wants to be in the C-suite and find out that they are either Amy Pascal at Sony, or worse, I'm an executive at a bank that's been hit for $1 billion worth of funds that were under my charge. There's just no CEO in the world who wants to wake up and find out that there have been people rooting around inside their system. And so infrastructure takes on a brand new, completely different place in our world. Those who have been in the business a long time, sitting there with that sort of knowing look, giving me the, yeah, we've always known that. You're just figuring it out now. The point is, we are just figuring it out now. Now, there's a reason for that. How many people in this room are carrying a smartphone or a smart device in their pocket? That would be everybody. I should have gone the other way. How many people in the room have a BlackBerry? How many of you had a BlackBerry and thought it was a smart device? There's that too. In practice, almost everyone in this room has a smart device in their pocket. And those of you who don't, I know you wish you did. We wish you did too. All of you, how many have a second or third generation smart device? Seriously, everybody, right? Everybody's got an iPhone 5 or 6. You're having some kind of Android phone that is current. If I talked to you 2.5 to 3 years ago in a client meeting, if you can kind of think back that far, let's go back 36 months just for fun. 36 months ago, you would have still had a conversation with someone, A, about their BlackBerry, but B, you would have had to convince them that there was a consumer behavior change and a business behavior change towards connected devices. Now, everyone in this room has their own personal worldview that they can rely on, that they will think about and use in a meeting and say, you know what, this is the way I use my smart device. This is the way I then project Other people use it. In fact, you can get yourself into trouble by being too expert at the device in your pocket. That device is connected to a network, and that network requires infrastructure to function. That's thing one. Then we have the data sets that we're collecting from these devices. Now, right now, when someone talks about big data, or they talk about a data set that's consumer-oriented, very often they will talk about the way consumers engage to create data. I put a program out there, I ask the consumer to engage in the program, they engage in the program, whether it's an advertisement or something behaviorally that they're going to engage with, and then I collect the data back. And this has been the way advertisers and marketers have worked for a very, very long time. If you're paying attention in class, you know that whether you want to call it Internet of Things, Internet of Everything, machine to machine, these tools, which are all infrastructure-based, are now generating data points that we can make actionable. They need to be collected, they need to be safeguarded. So there's a new wealth of data we have never seen being collected at a rate we've never seen it, needing to be stored, needing to be data munged, needing to be warehoused, needed to be operated on. We have tons of information we've never had before that needs to be turned into action or ignored. Those are the choices. So infrastructure, which used to be, I think, completely non-sexy, now is the center of focus for a center of excellence for just about every organization that we work with. It doesn't matter if you're consumer-facing, consider yourself B2C. If you're business-facing, consider yourself B2B, or anywhere in the middle. It doesn't matter if you're in healthcare, and it absolutely doesn't matter if you're in marketing. The data is the same. To a computer, a 1 and a 0 or a 1 and a 0. To a hard drive, it doesn't matter if it's a video bit or a Word document or a PDF file or a medical record. Computers don't care. We care. The infrastructure is everything. So today, in the next little bit, we're going to put some panels on stage to have what I lovingly call Socratic discussions, where we're going to have a discussion format. People are going to make assumptions and then hopefully push back. And we're going to get some good dialogue going around the idea that infrastructure is not only important, but is now the place for a center of excellence, a required center of excellence in every single business across every vertical. I don't know of a business, I literally do not know of a business where you can have substandard infrastructure and hope to compete. And if you know of one, I'm here and can't wait to have that conversation with you. I would love to know of a business where not having world-class infrastructure is going to be a competitive advantage. To that end, we're going to start right where we need to start, which is at the epicenter of enterprise security and cloud infrastructure. So if you think about the enterprise and the way that we used to think about it, and the enterprise and the way we now need to think about it, we're going to put ourselves in a situation where definitions matter. What I would ask you to do is, for today, remember that there's a lot of ways we can describe things like enterprise software, enterprise hardware, enterprise infrastructure. Security is the broadest possible brushstroke, and cloud tends to be somewhere between reality and fantasy, a marketing term and catchphrase. I used to put it on my list of banned words, forcing everyone to pay me $20 every time they said cloud as opposed to server. But let's just, for today, try and make sure that when we're in this room, we define the conversation for now. It doesn't matter if you use these definitions when you walk out the door, but let's not get caught up in semantics. Let's get caught up in the concepts so that we can really try to move the industry forward. And I will say the following. Everybody here, everybody in this room is an architect of the future. And I don't mean to like patronize this group or throw a platitude out. If you look left and you look right, you're going to see people who are here because they needed to be here. You needed to be in this room to talk about infrastructure. Guess what? That makes you an absolute bona fide architect of what's going to happen. So Alan Kay had the greatest quote ever. Said the best way to predict the future is to invent it yourself. Be part of that process today. Welcome to the Israel Dealmakers Summit, and hopefully we're going to have the greatest infrastructure conversation in the history of infrastructure conversations. So let me bring up Alex Bennick, and he's going to introduce the very first panel, Enterprise, Security, and Cloud Infrastructure. Let's give him a big hand.